Coverage you can count on continues with Glenn Marini's Sports Report.
Last month, it was Leo and Huntington North announcing they were joining Belmont, Columbia City, DeKalb, East Noble, New Haven, and Norwell to form a new conference. Now, that conference doesn't have a name yet and doesn't start until 2015, but one thing is for sure, it leaves Carroll and Homestead on the outside looking in, wondering what's next. Two of the area's biggest schools and most successful athletic programs. We explore what the future holds for both the Chargers and the Spartans after the NHC disbands.
Spartans on 3, 1, 2, 3, Spartans!
Everything seems pretty normal as Homestead and Carroll go through their weekly 7-on-7 competitions this summer. But planning for the future, that's a different ball game.
Ready, set, go!
These rivals find themselves on the same team, so to speak, both without a home when the NHC disbands in 2015. So join a different conference or go independent. Carroll Athletic Director Dan Ginder says the Chargers are still thinking that decision over.
We're preparing for 2015-16, both as an independent and hopeful to be in a conference. So we are both looking at both. On every move we make, it's going to be with looking at with the possibilities of being in a conference or as an independent. We're not one above the other at this point.
On the flip side, Homestead appears to be planning full bore ahead for life as an independent. Take a look at their football schedule starting in 2015. According to Athletic Director Joe Updegrove, the Spartans have already signed 4-year deals with Snyder, Northrop, Dwenger, Allures, and have a verbal agreement with Southside. Contracts with Carroll, Huntington North, Valpo, and a 2-year deal with Hamilton Southeastern are also in place, basically locking up an independent football schedule through 2018.
Honestly, our job now is to create a schedule in the future that we feel is going to be beneficial to us in terms of preparation for the playoffs. And so that's how we've approached it. And the whole idea is to get us ready for the playoffs. And that's been the idea all along. And so that's what we're aiming for.
If Homestead and Carroll do go the conference route, the natural fit would seem to be the SAC. After losing Harding and Elmhurst in recent years, the SAC could absorb 2 more teams, but that's a move seeming less and less likely.
There's been discussions among us and individual schools. There has not been any formal discussions that would lead to us pursuing that or them pursuing us. We are still in that planning stage to figure out what is best for all of us.
We really don't care to drive 3 or 4 hours for a football game too many times. We'll do it a couple times, that's fine, but if you're doing that night after night or week after week, that gets a little old.
One sport may be impacted by a lack of a conference schedule much more than another sport. And so even within our own coaches, there's personal opinions that are different, but we're all on board knowing that we've got to do what's best for Carroll High School athletics as a whole.
Ginder says he wasn't surprised that the NHC disbanded. It's something that had been talked about for years. He considers that move, quote, inevitable. He says the growing disparity in size of the NHC schools is the sole reason for the change. That'll do it for sports. More coverage you can count on coming up next.